ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
In less than 48 hours, San Diego County is going into a limited stay-at-home order. The state will require everyone be home from 10 at night to 5 in the morning beginning Saturday. The curfew covers everything from essential workers and essential needs for the next month. Thank you for joining us on this eventful day in California. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. We have team coverage tonight of those new restrictions and how the county will enforce it. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us how the curfew will impact you.
You can still go out for things like groceries, getting takeout, or if you need to go to work in an essential capacity. The goal is to not be mixing with others past 10 p.m. Starting Saturday and continuing through December 21st, the state wants Californians to stay home between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 in the morning in what's being called a limited stay-at-home order.
We know and we've seen in the past that COVID goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour very quickly.
Dr. Mark Galley, the state's Health and Human Services Secretary, making the curfew announcement Thursday afternoon. All private gatherings must end by 10 every night. Dr. Galley explains why.
Activities that might happen either in businesses like restaurants and bars or even in homes or outdoors where, certainly people might be gathering with friends and maybe, taking their guard down a bit.
The order applies to counties in the purple tier like San Diego, but it doesn't impact restaurants.
Because they already have been subject to a previous county public health order to be closed by 10 p.m. Obviously, they have to be focusing on outside service now.
County officials say the goal isn't to punish San Diegans, just hopefully lower surging case counts.
We went from a period of time where we were routinely having 200 to 300 cases to a time where now we have daily totals approaching 1,000 cases, one day exceeding 1,000.
Dr. Galley admitting that if the order doesn't result in a slow of COVID-19, the state will reassess.
In looking at that, if we do see trends that are more concerning, that we don't see the impact and effects of the actions today, there are other tools in the toolbox.
The curfew lasts until December 21st. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Bottom line is, wear those damn masks out there, socially distanced, and the sooner we do that, the sooner we're going to get through this crisis.
Tough words today from the sheriff. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is cracking down on businesses refusing to comply with the public health orders. The county has issued more than 40 cease and desist letters since Monday. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura continues our team coverage with how deputies will handle businesses not following the new rules.
The sheriff says his deputies will be working with county compliance teams as well as local police departments, though he says if cities won't enforce public health orders, his deputies will.
This is a significant problem and enforcement action will be taken.
San Diego County Sheriff Bill Gore sending a message Thursday to anyone thinking of violating public health orders. He says he will be devoting 4 two-man deputy teams to work full-time with county compliance officers.
When they go out, they're going to try to get the voluntary compliance and educate the business owner or whatever the entity is we're dealing with. And when we don't get that compliance, when we can't mitigate the situation that we're dealing with, that's when deputy sheriffs are there to take enforcement action.
This week, cease and desist letters were sent to dozens of businesses and venues throughout the county in violation of public health orders. Some told ABC 10 News they plan to get in compliance. Gore says when it comes to enforcement, they want to work with city police departments, but say they will serve citations with or without their help.
We would like to get compliance from all our chiefs, but if they're not going to join with us in enforcement actions, if that becomes necessary, we will issue those citations by ourselves without their assistance.
The sheriffs have the right to do this. Apparently it's legal. I think it's unprecedented. I can't find anybody who remembers something like this happening.
El Cajon Mayor Bill Wells has said that COVID-19 related enforcement calls would be a low priority for his police officers. He says that will still be the case. He says the sheriff can do what he feels he needs to, but Wells calls it a travesty.
These people that are staying open and going through this process are doing it because they know if they close one more time, they'll never reopen.
The sheriff was also asked about enforcing the curfew when it came to private citizens. He said the curfew is so new, he's still working on a plan. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
The county announced 899 new cases today. That is fewer than yesterday. There were also 7 deaths overnight, bringing that total now to 952. Our COVID cases have spiked noticeably in the past several weeks. A UCSD epidemiologist says COVID fatigue is certainly one of the big reasons why.
What we think is going on is that people are getting tired of having to mask up and to stay lonely.
Despite the desire to be around loved ones, experts are urging everyone not to hold the usual Thanksgiving gatherings. Many saying it's much better to have a Thanksgiving dinner virtually with your extended family than having Christmas in the ICU.
Another local holiday tradition is falling victim to the pandemic. This year's San Diego Bay Parade of Lights, scheduled for December the 13th and 20th, has been canceled. This is video from last year's event, which brought in more than 100,000 people to the Bay over the 2 weekends. The parade's awards dinner is also canceled.
San Diego hospitals are joining a national call for people to wear facial coverings. Hospitals released this PSA as part of its initiative, Every Mask Up. It talks about the efforts and sacrifices healthcare workers have made during this pandemic and asks Americans to do one thing for them: just wear a mask. Doctors around the world say facial coverings are one of the single most effective tools for slowing the spread of COVID-19. And locally, Scripps, Sharp, and UC San Diego Health, as well as Kaiser Permanente, have all joined this campaign.
If everyone can do their own part of putting a mask on their face, it will contribute significantly to the pandemic and it'll help the country getting out of the quagmire that we're having right now.
The PSA will run in major media outlets as well across digital platforms. Some of the top brass from the California Medical Association attended the same birthday party that got Governor Newsom in hot water this month. CEO Dustin Corcoran and CMA lobbyist Janice Norman were among the guests at the French Laundry restaurant in the Napa Valley that violated COVID-19 guidelines. The governor didn't say how many, but did confirm there were more than the recommended 3 households at the party. And a CMA spokesman says that the dinner was held in accordance with state and county outdoor guidelines, but pictures obtained by Fox LA show the party was held in a 3-sided room with a roof.
San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer says he is seriously considering a run for California governor. In an interview with Politico, Mayor Faulconer said, quote, "We need leadership right now." He also argued that Governor Newsom has set the state on a dangerous economic path by what he called opening and closing every other month. The mayor took Governor Newsom to task on social media last week after attending that birthday party at the French Laundry we just told you about.
Today, the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, held a fiery news conference with the president's legal team. He made the case for widespread voter fraud around the country with ties to foreign governments and said the media is not reporting the facts.
We cannot allow these crooks, because that's what they are, to steal an election from the American people.
The legal team went on to say the lack of new evidence at the news conference is because today's remarks were merely an opening statement that evidence would come out in court. So far, judges have not found enough credible evidence to show widespread voter fraud.
And we spoke to law professor Craig Barkas from the University of San Diego about Giuliani's press conference today. We specifically asked him about Dominion voting systems, which were mentioned in that press conference. Now, President Trump has claimed the company's software flipped 2.7 million votes from him to President-elect Joe Biden. Those claims of voter fraud have been proven false, which could open up an opportunity for Dominion to sue Trump on the grounds of defamation.
If A accuses B of a crime, something bad has happened, maybe B has committed that crime. But if A accuses B of a crime and it's not true, that's when B can turn around and sue A for defamation. And that's what people are looking at right now.
Dominion released a statement Tuesday saying claims of switching or deleting votes are 100% false.
And a man died after a vehicle hit him outside Sharp Memorial Hospital, where he had just been discharged. Sky 10 was overhead on Health Center Drive near Frost Street, where the incident happened. Police say the 61-year-old was walking when the vehicle hit him and then took off around 6 o'clock. The victim was rushed back into the hospital, but sadly did not survive. Police do not have a vehicle description at this time.